And a very warm welcome here to the Barony Hall at the University of Strathclyde. The Barony is one of the jewels in our estate's crown, as it were. I mean, we use this hall for many things, formal functions, dinners, conferences, occasionally examinations, so you can still feel the tremor of excitement in here. But most importantly, we use it for our graduation ceremonies. So our graduands, as they currently are here in the hall and on the stage behind me, are going to be magically transformed into Strathclyde graduates over the course of the next 40 minutes. Here on the stage with me are senior members of our court, our governing body, and senior academics and administrative staff from the Faculty of Engineering. And we also have representation from our student body. So you have the whole student community, the staff community represented here to join in celebrating the wonderful achievements of our students in the engineering faculty. We'll begin and we'll go straight into the conferring of the degrees. So I'm going to cap all of these wonderful people, confer the degree, and then I'll give you an update on the progress of your university. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will now pronounce that this congregation is open and we'll begin the process of graduations. Thank you very much indeed.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for research in the Department of Chemical and Process Engineering, Andrew Malone Bell. Martin Prostredny. For research in the Department of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering, Saira Tahir Bashir. For research in the Department of Naval Architecture, Ocean and Marine Engineering, Paymen Amir Afshari. For research in the Department of Naval Architecture and Marine Engineering, Yue Gu. For the degree of Master of Philosophy, for research in the Department of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering, Ugona Chidera Mbezu. For the degree of Master of Science in Process Technology and Management, Jose Antonio Benavides Sanchez. Brian Driver. Ahmed Ragad El Shokefi. Killian O'Neill. Luana Pereira Faria. Taha Abdu Samar. Samuel Kian Sotudemir. In Advanced Chemical and Process Engineering, Halif Hussain. Donya Jafairi. Minga Shanga Lobo. Ewan Allen Mills. Morgan Mukamwi. Alex Ross. In Sustainable Engineering, Renewable Energy Systems and the Environment, Al-Moghdad Abdeen. Marcus Auer. Agris Bolmaris. Michael Keith Chadband. Cheng Che Zhen. Joseph Dunleavy. Ulvan Farmirza. Sergio Fernandez Cardona. Finley Gordon Armstrong Fisher. Stefan Hubel. Evelyn Kurian. Brendan Alexander McKinnon. Dominic McMahon. Alistair Harry Mann. Noraini Binti Mohammed Zamri. Marianne Monge. Shannon Murray. Maria Peñarrubia Pozo. Elise Johanna Rea. Ali Hissan Sisim. Eliska Sifnerova. Justin Swan. Eleftheria Vavura. Magnus Eric Willett. Alistair William Wright. Jonathan Wrighton. In Advanced Mechanical Engineering, Mohammed Munib Iqbal. Angus James McCann. Jafar Muhammad. Andrew Scott Robinson. Shiran Shaw. In Advanced Mechanical Engineering with Aerospace, Ronan Christopher Craig. Scott Peter Hunter. Alexander Malone. Cameron Miller. Matthew Murray. Natasha Tew. In Advanced Mechanical Engineering with Energy Systems, Callum Kavanagh. Paul Irving. Andrew Danilo Milton. In Advanced Mechanical Engineering with Materials, Eba Muanad Ahmed Al-Seba. Kyle Nelson. In sustainable engineering, offshore renewable energy, Joaquim Aparicio Fernandez de Gata. Callum James Barrett. Michael Henry Copini. Tristan Richard Eric Gadd. David John Lockhead Gow. Rory Andrew McInnes Irvin. Amandine Pellissier. In marine engineering, Anuj Gulab Chavan. Zhongsheng Deng. Manuel Filguiras Garcia. Ronald James. Haralamos Kitsis. Ana Maria Contara. Georgios Lazaridis Kirolivanos. Ru Shou Lu. Georgios Manariotis. Spiridon Sephiris. Yanis Spertos. Trim Sandvik Steinsham. Sagar Telangay. Yanis Satalios. Wee Shoshia. In technical ship management, Anmol Magal Jalvad. Magnus Moxter. In offshore floating systems, Lee Nanki. Liam Samut. In subsea and pipeline engineering, Sharam Hanifi. Harish Nareen Ravindran Mirakumari. In ship and offshore structures, David Anglada Font. Yunshin Shu. For the degree of Master of Engineering in Chemical Engineering, Louise Jean Anderson. Gregor Michael MacDonald. Adam Parr. In Aeromechanical Engineering, Haris Azhar. Michael Leach. Ruby Holly Balach Marshall. Callum Stark. In mechanical engineering, Matthew Jordan. In mechanical engineering with international study, Nay Wilson. In naval architecture and marine engineering, Georgios K. Anagnostopoulos. For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Chemical Engineering, Thomas James Bolton. Hayden Graves. David Grundy. Inam Ullah Khan. Gregory Magnin. Daniel Taylor. Gerard Maurice Fox. Kira Friel. Declan Thomas O'Donnell. In aeromechanical engineering, Jordan Norris. Stephen David Kerr. In mechanical engineering, Ewan Harrington. Graham Steele Clark. Indapal Singh Hunjan. James Maris. Avez Mahmoud Ramzan. Michael Hu Ming Jung. In naval architecture and marine engineering, Marcos Thireos. In naval architecture with ocean engineering, Daniel Rees Bryan. Darren Patrick Doherty. Alejandro Medrano Marquez. David Arthur Ramsey. Dylan James Robert Mark Wiley. For the degree of Master of Science in Process Technology and Management, Mahamau Rashid.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's give the class of 2019 a big collective round of applause. So, once again, graduates, as I can call you now, ladies and gentlemen, let me reiterate our warm welcome from everyone at the university to this wonderful ceremony, a day that none of you will forget, It marks the successful conclusion of hard work, dedication, indeed teamwork, and now you've graduated in front of your family, your friends, and your classmates. Today, we welcome visitors from all over Scotland, from across the UK, and indeed from a wonderful international community too. We're delighted to see all of you here to join in the celebrations. But of course, we enter this day, as always, as another day that's giving us in terms of political flux, challenge, uncertainty, but you've got the most important thing you need now, your integrity, your ambition, and a Strathclyde degree to take you into the next phase of your lives and careers. And when we consider briefly the prevailing political dynamics in Scotland, the UK, throughout Europe and across the Atlantic, we face now, and we need leaders such as you in the hall today, to face down the dangers of populism, the divisions in society, and the seemingly unending sense of uncertainty. Of course, it's worthwhile acknowledging the role of universities such as ours and try to chart a way through all of these. Strathclyde is an institution where freedom of thought is valued and encouraged. We're a place that is both tolerant and inclusive, and where people of diverse national, cultural, and social backgrounds come together here to enjoy excellent education and a shared student experience. Here at Strathclyde, we all benefit from having students and staff from over 120 countries. Ours seeks to be a socially progressive institution. This community that seeks to be an exemplar for modern society. We are proud to be plural, we're multicultural, and we try to be enlightened. It's our responsibility, graduates, it's your responsibility to continue to challenge unacceptable practices and behaviours, including by those in power, by using reason and by exemplifying the very best features of modern society. But of course, we're here today to say well done to all of you. We're here to acknowledge your hard work, the learning that you've built up, and the successful completion of your degree course as you now take your degrees and go and do things that are useful. Useful learning, that's our motto. And appropriately enough, for the engineering faculty, Thomas Edison, an electrical engineer and a famous American inventor, reminded us that genius, according to him, was 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. But I'm sure as Strathclyde graduates, your ratios were a lot better on that front when you were in the library, in the laboratories, and your teams. I'm an engineer too. I was brought up in Glasgow, in a sunny hamlet called Govan, and our town's historical motto is nihil sine labore, or nothing without hard work. And I try to embrace that ethos every day, and I would recommend that you take that approach into your future careers. You're bright, you're highly accomplished, you're ambitious, but that extra ounce of hard work, dedication, and commitment very often is the difference to getting things over the line. And today you've become Strathclyde alumni. You're the latest torchbearers, just like many generations that have gone before you. And with all that you've now successfully come through, I'm sure that you would agree that you couldn't have done this without the backing, support, and encouragement of the community of supporters around you, whether here on the campus, in the city, or back home from wherever your families have come from. It is fitting that we acknowledge their part in the successful completion of your university studies. Our graduates and the university at large owe them an enormous debt of gratitude. And as the first in my own family to have gone to university here at Strathclyde, as it happens, in the electrical engineering department, I know the importance of such support. So today's graduates and our university staff would like to take this opportunity to thank the families, the friends and supporters sincerely for all that they've done to make today possible. Thank you very much indeed. And for our academic staff too, this is a very important day because your success is ultimately their reward. Strathclyde has worked hard to provide you with a high-quality education and a first-class university experience for all of our students, regardless of background. So, graduates, let me now invite you to join with me in saying a big thank you to our staff for all that they've done to support you in your journey. Thank you. So remember this about your institution as you leave here today. We were founded in 1796, so we're 223 years old this year, and we Still try to drive this place like a 200-year-old startup company, retaining that same excitement and purpose from the time of our establishment. And throughout our history, the University of Strathclyde has remained faithful to our founding principles. We were established, and I quote, for the benefit of all mankind. And we were the only Scottish higher education institution to be established here during the time of the Scottish Enlightenment. That's a real distinction for Strathclyde. Challenging, contributing, and engaged with society. And we're now trying to drive forward our university strategy in that same exciting spirit, making it wholly relevant now for the 21st century. Our founder was a physicist, or natural philosopher, as they would have been called back then, a man called John Anderson. And he had strong links with Benjamin Franklin, the American inventor and academic. And Franklin had been involved in establishing the University of Pennsylvania in 1751 under the motto of useful knowledge. And that inspired John Anderson, who had a long set of communications with him. In fact, met him here in Scotland. In fact, John Anderson took him over to St Andrews when he got his honorary degree back in that time. So Anderson was influenced by that challenge of the Enlightenment, by what Benjamin Franklin had to say, and so our motto was established, useful learning. And remember that, it defines what we're all about, and never has that philosophy been so relevant since our establishment over 200 years ago. So, for many of you, as you've come today to the Barony Hall, you'll have passed buildings and laboratories and teaching spaces where our academics and students are doing important work. They're developing drugs and diagnosing diseases. For example, we have several drugs in clinical trials in the areas of cancer treatment, kidney disease, infection management, and inflammatory diseases. Strathclyders are also producing energy technologies and policy solutions to tackle climate change and to establish a low-carbon economy. We are revolutionising global manufacturing technologies and helping to create the fourth industrial revolution, so-called Industry 4.0, using robotics, artificial intelligence, advanced materials, automated systems. Our students continue their work in Africa, establishing clean water and power supplies, deploying healthcare systems into remote communities, and introducing new telecommunications infrastructure. They're bringing prosthetic limb and bioengineering technologies to those in need in India. And of course, across the university, we seek to work to inform public policy on national economy, on education, health, and energy. And one of our research and innovation buildings, the Technology and Innovation Centre down on George Street, our staff are working very closely with industry, many of whom are actually based in the same building, working on decarbonising energy supplies, or advanced photonics and lasers, bio-nano systems, and pharmaceutical manufacturing. Thomas Edison, who I mentioned earlier, he called his teams and his laboratories his inventions factory. Well, we like to think as TIC becoming our innovations factory. And we're now reinforcing our position as one of the UK's leading research and innovation universities by having created Scotland's first innovation district, announced by Derek Mackay, Cabinet Secretary for Economy and Finance earlier this year, down on that same platform between Ingram Street, High Street and George Street, subject to our court's scrutiny and approval. We expect to be investing another £150 million down there in new buildings. New clusters on the Horizon Technologies, creating jobs and economic opportunity in our city in health technology, fintech, quantum technology, which you're going to hear a lot more about in the coming years, industrial informatics, 5G communications, and space engineering. And through the application of useful learning, we're also offering business and industry the tools that they need to be more innovative and to promote economic growth, to help create jobs, to create economic opportunity, inclusive opportunity with a quality of life that is both sustainable and healthy. But most importantly, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, we provide here at Strathclyde people with the opportunity to transform their lives and the lives of their families. As I mentioned earlier, we still attract many first-generation students here to the University of Strathclyde. And those are just some of the reasons that we've had an excellent chain of external recognition of what we do and how we do it. In recent years, at the annual UK Times Higher Education Awards, we've been recognised as the UK University of the Year, the Entrepreneurial University of the Year. We had the Business School of the Year accolade a couple of years ago. Just last year, we were named the Workplace of the Year in the sector, which pleased me because of the way in which we work together as a team. Last year, the Herald announced us as the Higher Education Institution of the Year, and just last month, I'm delighted to say the Sunday Times in their Good University Guide, announced us as the Scottish University of the Year for 2020. And keep your fingers crossed. Yes, well done, staff. We go down, the teams go down on the 28th of November, where we've been shortlisted again. Fingers crossed, but it'll be a tough ask, but we've been shortlisted again for the UK University of the Year. That hasn't been done before, but the fact that we're shortlisted demonstrates the continuing push and advance in this university. So, Strathclyde continues to have a disproportionate impact, principally graduates through all of you. Whilst we do wonderful research, and it is world leading in many areas, well, we deliver excellent education. Our biggest contribution is you. When you leave here, into your careers, into society, into private sector, public sector, academia, you are our lasting legacy of excellence and contribution. So carry that forward. Feel the excitement of it. Don't see it as a burden. Just understand that you are an ambassador for Strathclyde as you take your career forward. And the university tries to be a driver for sustainable economic growth, and we have a very distinct role in that key national objective. The Scottish Government commit around 1.2 billion investment in the sector on an annual basis, but in return, the universities in Scotland give back almost £7 billion worth of economic impact. That's a real return on investment. And the engineering faculty, which is outstanding, an international exemplar, gives me great cause for hope and optimism that we'll continue to make great contributions. And I have to give you, unfortunately, some truncated examples of the great work that they've been doing. Our Dean of Engineering, Professor Attila Insacek, himself a naval architect, was awarded an honorary doctorate by Chalmers University, an outstanding technological university in Sweden. Sweden having been recognised for his pioneering efforts in maritime environmental science. And Attila was head of the Department in Naval Architecture, Ocean and Marine Engineering. We launched Scotland's first innovation district, as I mentioned earlier. That is bringing together, over the next 5 to 6 years, over 170 companies that we're going to bring into the city, not just to fund our research and hire our students, but to base themselves in Glasgow. And there's been an external estimate that will deliver about £1 billion of GVA into the Scottish economy, centred around the work of Strathclyde University. In a similar vein, out at the airport, we already have our Advanced Forming Research Centre, major manufacturing hub, and the First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, just about a year ago, announced us that Strathclyde is the anchor partner for the creation of the National Manufacturing Institute for Scotland. So something approaching £190 million worth of capital will be committed out there in the next 2 years. Strathclyde will own the assets. We'll be working with the Aerospace Centre, automotive, and also in the energy sector, working on all these advanced Industry 4.0 technologies, and again, probably creating around 4,000 to 5,000 jobs in the Greater Glasgow and Renfrew area. But our staff and students continue to do great work in the labs too. A new technique has been developed at Strathclyde for monitoring blood chemistry levels in premature and sick babies, eliminating the need for invasive blood tests. That's done by our biomedical engineers. Also, a virtual emergency consultation programme for eye patients is in trial, driven out of the engineering faculty. This is a new approach leading to quicker treatment times and removing the need for follow-up hospital appointments in more than half the cases. This tele-ophthalmology system has been developed by Strathclyde and NHS Forth Valley using advanced digital technologies, communications, and the understanding of the working of the eye and how we can improve health outcomes. Our students continue to impress me unendingly. The Strathclyde students have recently installed new solar-powered energy systems in yet another school in the Gambia. Kambudja Village School is the 12th to have benefited from the installation of what's called off-grid solar systems as part of the Gambia Solar Project, and that began over 12 years ago. Strathclyde has helped to improve the educational experience of approximately 5,500 young Gambians by providing them with electricity to power lights, fans, mobile phone charging, laptops and TVs. I've spent a bit of time myself in Malawi seeing our deployments in that part of Africa, and let me tell you, 10 kilowatts of electricity can power a couple of schoolrooms, and when these youngsters do a couple of hours of education from 7 in the morning to 9 and then disappear to work in subsistence farming for the rest of the day, they are desperate to get back into the classroom to continue their journey of education. And many more of these youngsters are now making their journey into high schools because of the Strathclyde's engineering students. Also, a study co-led by a Strathclyde PhD student found, worryingly, that microplastics can indeed be carried on the wind to pollute remote regions. And we got quite a lot of media coverage when these plastics were found in the Pyrenean Mountains. Strathclyde technology, which just again highlights the challenge of the climate change approach that we must take to improving the world's future. We also launched a clinical investigation into helping millions of people with osteoporosis using advanced engineering, ultrasonics. It's called nano-kicking, which can take tiny vibrations to turn stem cells into healthy bone. Remarkable engineering, from large-scale wind turbines to building bridges to building bone again in people that need medical support. And in the Department of Mechanical and Aerospace, our space engineers are working on a project called, very attractively, the Stardust Reloaded program. It's a continuation of a 4-year program which began in 2014, pioneering new techniques for asteroid and space debris monitoring and removal and deflection. And I'm delighted to say two of our staff, Professor Rebecca Lunn, MBE, Professor Graham Wren, OBE, were both appointed as Fellows of the Royal Academy of Engineering in recognition of their outstanding professionalism. So, graduates, I could go on but shouldn't. This is the exciting context within which you should see your awards. You're graduates of a university that places students at the heart of everything that we do. We value excellence in education and research, and we create strong connections with society at large, as well as business and industry. And of course, we're international. You can see that with this wonderful community of graduates today. The world's best universities compete, collaborate, and contribute on the world stage. We're no different. We work with over 200 universities worldwide, but we have special partnerships with around a dozen of those. In the States, that means Stanford, MIT, New York University, with a growing relationship with the University of Waterloo in Canada, Toronto, and the University of Southern California. Their leadership team are here on the campus this week. In China, as well as many other universities, we have special partnerships with Tsinghua University in Beijing and the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. In Singapore, Nanyang Technological University and the National University of Singapore, and a raft of deep, long-standing relationships across Europe. And in spite of the spectre of Brexit, the academic community in Europe have signalled that we will continue to collaborate regardless of the flux, if I can use that euphemism, that we face in terms of the uncertainty in funding, the need to transfer people, to create collaborative teams, and Strathclyde will continue to show by example what collaboration means and the importance of shared values and shared activity. But of course, our students benefit directly from being part of an international institution. It helps them emerge with the necessary skills to help themselves, and indeed Scotland play a full part in the world. And very importantly, our students have been exposed to the richness of different cultures and different traditions. And today, graduates, when you leave here, please understand your obligations as global citizens. And whilst we work on the world stage, we're a very grounded university. Here in the city of Glasgow, I have the privilege of being the chairman of the Glasgow Economic Leadership Board, bringing together around 100 business leaders, many of them CEOs and CTOs, to imagine Glasgow's future economy over the next 20 to 40 years, effectively capturing that same spirit of adventure that the merchants of Glasgow had at the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, and Strathclyde is positioned at the heart of that. And you've heard me mentioning the term socially progressive. I'm proud of my staff, that the work that they do to have us remain the leading Scottish research-intensive university for widening participation in our programmes for students from some of the most challenged communities in Scotland. And once again, over 1,100 joined us this year. That's a target that we went through some 2 years ago. We had planned by 2020 we'd be attracting 1,000 a year. And our doors are wide open, but our standards remain very high. Just last month, we were announced as having the 5th highest entrance requirements in the UK, not in Scotland, making a nonsense of this idea that if you take kids from challenged backgrounds, you must be lowering your standards. Not a bit of it. We contextualise their admissions, but we maintain our academic standards, and we support our students to achieve the very best they possibly can. And let me tell you, graduates, the first graduation programme I have every year is the Children's University graduation, where I've got 5 in 14-year-olds coming here. I'm the Chancellor of the Children's University. I like that because I get to look tall at those graduation ceremonies. But these 5-year-olds, 14-year-olds, they come up with their capes, their mortarboards, their mums and dads who are sitting in this hall, the vast majority of them never having been across the threshold of a university before, so that they know by using their digital passport, if they do night classes, they get a digital stamp. They go to the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery with their mum or their dad, they get another stamp. Until such times they fill up their digital passport, they come here, and I give them a bachelor's degree from the Children's University. If they stick in, do some more work, more night classes, they get a master's degree from the Children's University. And you probably guessed the next one. Up to 14, if they keep on working, they'll get a PhD from the Children's University. And that's what's coming your way, staff. Lots of great kids with great ambitions, aspiration, the wherewithal, maybe not the means, but the wherewithal and ambition to be here. And that's what we should be proud about at Strathclyde. Wonderful research, excellent teaching, and access to education for anyone that has the desire and capability to do it. So let me conclude by saying that your university in 2019 remains ambitious, we have focus, and we're building strong momentum. We've got the agility and commitment to the delivery of our strategy, so necessary to navigate through the uncertainties that we face and the political climate. I'm always struggling for euphemisms when I think about that. The political climate will do that we're all facing just now. It's a privilege for me to lead this great institution. I have great support from my executive team, from the wonderful academics, professional staff and support staff, and I truly believe that our founder, John Anderson, if he could know what we were doing now, he would recognise this as the realisation of his vision that was established during the Scottish Enlightenment. And to all of you in the Barney Hall, I'm certain that today's graduates will have an enormous impact on society, and that 2019 can truly become a vintage year. And with that in mind, as you leave the hall today, you leave not just with your degrees, but you leave with a responsibility. As today's graduates, you now join a community of over 170,000 Strathclyders out there in the world. Please remember that whatever you do with your degree and wherever you go to pursue your career, useful learning means that you apply your knowledge for the benefits of others, make a positive impact for yourselves and the communities that you belong to. Please respect diversity, value freedom of expression, of thought, and reach conclusions and resolve disputes through reason and tolerance. These characterise the core values of your university. And let me return finally to today's celebration. We're all here to mark your outstanding achievements and your successes. Well done to all of you. And on behalf of Strathclyde University, I'd like to extend my sincere congratulations to all of you. I wish you every success in your future careers. Please stay in touch with us, let you know how you're doing. Well done, and please enjoy the rest of this very special day. Thank you. I've told you about all this technology. We also apply digital control at these ceremonies because my colleague just gave me the thumbs up, which is a good digital signal that the weather's okay outside, which means when we conclude the ceremony, the stage group will process. Please join us over in the Lord Todd Hall, which is just about 100 yards off to the right, where there are refreshments there for you. I think cakes and buns as well, but certainly refreshments, and we'll get a chance to mingle with you, perhaps have a conversation. Graduates, once again, very well done to all of you. Family and friends, have a great day. I'll now declare this congregation closed. Thank you very much indeed.